The best thing for you to do is to pick some specific points and then work in one direction and learn them in an order. Try to keep the number of things that you learn in an order to about between 4 and 6. Don't get a crazy long list, and don't have a whole bunch of really short lists, but have several lists. And so like I tend to do, start at the heart, work up, veins, start at the heart, work up, arteries, then I'll go down here, and there's a little Y-shaped thing right here. So I'll go above the Y in order, and then below the Y in order. And so that's how I'm going to walk you through this stuff. So that'll help you learn these things, because again, this is going to be the most complex part of what you're learning for this semester, for this second half. So we start here, coming off the heart, the blue one, superior vena cava. All right? Coming off the superior vena cava should be one blue blood vessel. That is the internal mammary vein. There's only one internal mammary vein. There's not a left and a right, so don't get it confused. One superior vena cava, one internal mammary vein. The superior vena cava will branch. Each branch will split so that part goes to the head and part goes to the arm. So each of these splits is brachiocephalic. So you'll get a right brachiocephalic vein, a left brachiocephalic vein. That will split off. And when it splits off, what goes up will become jugulars. What goes to the side will become subclavian. All right? Now, if we go up first, the jugulars, there will be a big one that goes around each outside. So this is the right external jugular vein. Mine runs out of ink on the right side about there. So I don't know what happened, but you can still see it. It's just brown. Okay, the left side, you can see it better. It goes all the way up, and you can see it there. So that side at least is visible. The internals you may or may not see on your cat, depending on a lot of things. The internals are small. Usually where this branches off so that the subclavian comes off, right after that branching, there's usually a little teeny tube. See the brown tube I'm lifting up? Everybody got that? Can see it? Can you see it? Okay. All right. That little brown tube, that's the right internal jugular vein. Let me show you the left one. The left one is the little brown stripe that's on the red artery. It's so thin I can't even get it up. Come on. I can't even separate it really very easily. But do you see the little brown vein right there? I'd have to get a pin and lift it up in order to show it. Some of yours, if it didn't pick up the dye and you didn't just happen to scrape it just right, those may be gone. And so the internals sometimes disappear. So just look. Usually somebody has decent internals that will have a decent amount of blue in them. Ah, there we go. Now it's separating off. There, but see how thin that is? That's the internal, that's the left internal jugular vein. So if you get my cat out, be careful with that. Don't lift it up and pull it apart. Don't need to destroy it. All right. Going this way, it becomes subclavian. The subclavian arteries and veins stay subclavian until the subscapular comes off. All right? The subscapular for the vein is right here. Okay? So that means for the vein, the subclavian goes from here to here. This little stretch, that's all of subclavian vein there is. So don't get confused. Humans, we got big subclavian veins. This one, not so much. And the same thing on this side. You can't really tell it because it's lost its dye, but the subscapular is there. So it's only this little bump right here where it's finally become, it comes off right here, so it's subclavian there, but there's subscapular right there. So it's this little bump, about as big as the width of that. As soon as the subscapular comes off, which you can see better on this side, subscapular comes off, this now is axillary. And it stays axillary all the way until you get about mid-biceps. At about the mid-biceps, there's usually some arteries and veins that will creep off. Usually it creeps up. On this one, I'm finding them more on the creeping down area, so right here. But I will have them exposed on the exams if I was going to separate axillaries from brachials. But that one that splits down about mid-biceps, that is where it separates between axillary and brachial. Okay, and you don't have to know anything below brachial. All right? So, moving on to the arteries on the top. You've got to take the wrapper off the heart. Okay, so the pericardium has to come off. Once you get the pericardium off, you can see the aortic arch. The aortic arch is right there. The aortic arch has 2 branches that come off instead of 3. On the human, we have 3. The first one, brachiocephalic. Then we have the left common carotid, and then the left subclavian. So on the cat, you got this big, huge one that actually is going to branch into 3. So this one actually has, this brachiocephalic actually has the right subclavian, the right common carotid, and the left common carotid. So the second thing that comes off from here is not a brachiocephalic. The second thing that comes off is just the left subclavian. Okay? If you follow the subclavians out, you'll find that each subclavian has a little red blood vessel that sticks straight up. Where's the other one? There we go. Okay? Those are the 2 internal mammary arteries. There is a left and right mammary artery. There's only the internal mammary vein because there's not a left and right. So that one's the right, that one's the left. All right?